What's up, guys? This is the Boardgameroamer, and I am back with a quick unboxing for you. This is a game by Red Genie Games. It's called the Brigade. It's published by Red Genie Games, designed by Hoban and Wynnter. They did both of these. This was a game on Kickstarter that I backed a while back, and it has finally shipped. I got it about a week ago. I have opened both of these and checked out the contents because there were some issues with shipping and some issues that came up with the boxes and this, which I'll talk about in a second. But pretty much everything is here, so I wanted to go ahead and show it to you so that you could see it. This is a game where you're playing as a warden, and basically you have this town and it's on fire. The university's on fire, and you're trying to keep the fires out. You have districts. There's different tiles where you're going to build the city that have different districts of different types, and those loyalties you're going to try to win while keeping the fire down. And so that's kind of what's going on. This is soloable. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, I think this is the fire. Yeah. So the base game is not soloable, but the expansion is makes it solo. So as you can see from the back here, you've got you're going to build a grid, and everybody has their warden. They have crew that have abilities and stuff like that. You have all these tiles that represent the city, and in the center is the university. And the wind's going to move, and the fires are going to pick up and move all around the board. And so you're constantly trying to put out the fires and try to win the loyalty of the tiles for your warden, because ultimately you want to become the fire chief. You want to be the hero that Tinderbox needs, as the box says. So I'm going to set this expansion aside for just 1 second. Like I said, I have already opened this, and the reason I opened it was to check the contents, number one. But number two, there was an optional sticker set that came with the Kickstarter, and so I've actually already stickered and made sure I had all the pieces and stuff in here, the flame tokens and water tokens and whatnot. So let's take a quick look at this. So here's the rule book. Pretty decent rule book. I flipped through it. A good amount of pictures, some explanation of the actions. They're generally pretty straightforward. Quick reference on the back, some iconography on the back to show you what it means. So it's a good job there. Then you have your player boards, and really there's no difference with the firehouse, what they call the firehouse board. There's a couple sides, but they're really all the same boards, just different player colors. The core game is for 4 players, and then the expansion does add a 5th player in solo mode. So here's the flame tokens. That's not a good example. There weren't quite enough stickers on the sheet because I think they gave us some extra flame tokens. So these are with the stickers on it, otherwise they're just these red standard meeples. And so these are going to sit on the tiles, and you're going to track the fire there. You have water, which you're going to sit on your warden. And then, for example, your wagon, so you're going to say, you know, I've got some amount of water on the wagon, or I'll probably actually just do it like that just to make it easier. Then you got your 4 player colors: black, orange, white, pink. You have a wagon. Again, these are stickers on either side that I put on it that were optional buy in your main warden. Then you got a bunch of tokens, loyalty tokens, a couple other counters in here for your board to keep up with how many crew members, because you basically, this board represents, you know, your standard hero, your standard warden, and you upgrade how many crew members you have, how much water you can carry, and leadership, and all these stats will do different things. And you'll notice On the side 2, everything's the same except there's an ability. So for instance, let's see here. So for instance, the orange player, right? This is his board. Insurance. Each time you gain the loyalty of a block, you may place 1 renown on any other merchant block. So the merchants are a good fit for him, right? So you can get some of that going. So there's different abilities. Like they all have different abilities. This is called Fresh Mounts. This one is called Streetwise, Civic Duty. So there are some asymmetric player powers, which is cool. Then you've got the actual tiles here, and they're actually very thick. I was kind of surprised at how thick these tiles were. I did not expect them to be quite that thick. And it's pretty cool because every tile has, and this is different, the amount of the fire tracks they have. So this is going to sit out there and it's going to catch on fire. So I'm going to say, oh, it's on 1, and then something's going to happen and it's going to move it maybe 2 because the wind blew a certain direction and increased it. And then if it ever gets to the point where it's destroyed, then this flips over and all the tiles, Giant Shoe Orphanage, then it's got some flavor text down here, but they're destroyed. And so you're trying to save as many buildings as you can. So there's a stack of buildings, as you can see. You notice there's different colored tiles. Those are the merchant guilds. Those are the guilds. 1, 2, 3, 4 different guilds. The names I don't remember, but there's 4 different ones. So there's your regular tiles. Then you've got your 4-player firehouses that can't catch on fire. And then in the center of the city, set this up right quick, you have Pyromancer University. Right, so this is kind of like the very center part of the city, and you're going to build the entirety of your town around this, and then you're going to put these at the corners, okay? And you're going to actually use all those tiles. So there's a lot of tiles. So that's the tiles. And again, well, this is the burned out section. Sorry, yes, I guess I should do the right thing and show you the actual Pyromancer University before it burns to the ground. So that's what it starts at. Each one of these has its own section. If the university burns, you're done. Right? You can lose some of the other tiles, but if the university burns, that's no bueno. Bad juju. But it does have a much larger track. So hopefully that will help you keep it up and going a bit longer. You also have these cards. Okay, so there's event cards that will do different things, and then there's cards like this that you're going to blow the wind in a specific direction. Okay, and so the wind's going to blow. In this case, it says west. So the wind would blow from the right side of the board to the left, and you would basically, all the fire would move 1 tile over everywhere. You'd start with the bottom and work your way backwards, actually. But it's going to increase the fire or set new tiles on fire. So you're constantly trying to manage that. Then you have these kind of cards where, and these I believe are the starting cards, where new fires break out, so it's kind of like sparks land randomly. So you're going to be increasing the different locations from there. So that's what those cards do. Kind of keeps you constantly having to go all over the place to put the fire out, making it very difficult because you're constantly having to fight the fire and you're having to have water. And water's, I mean, you don't just always have water on you. You have water. And your wagon has water, and your people have water to begin with, but then as you use it, you know, it's gone, and you have to replenish it. I'll do that after this. And then you got these cards, okay, and these cards are the crew cards and the warden cards. So for example, here's the 4 warden cards. Glint Damp Shot, Frith Goldmane, Gloria Ignis, and Blitz Hoban. You'll see they've got these water on them, so they can carry water themselves. And then on the back side, if you play kind of like, you can play like in a standard mode where you don't really have any special powers. That's why you have one side here with no special power. But you can opt to flip it over, and if you do, now, this is his board, now you have special powers on the player board, and your Warden has special powers. So he has polymorph. Swap the intensity of 2 non-university blocks that are adjacent to each other. So they all of a sudden have different unique abilities that your Wardens can use, which is cool. I like that. I like to have that, like having that option especially. And then of course you have these trackers to let you know what options, what actions you took. You only take a certain number of actions. That's cool. Then you have these crew cards, okay? And these are additional people, again, associated with a faction, with a guild. If they're different crew, you can add. And again, you start out with 0. Like this is your default. So you have to take an upgrade action to, hey, upgrade your crew to 1. So now I can actually hire a crew person, right? My water, I can have more water on my wagon, those sorts of things. That's what's one of the actions is. Let's see, we talked about those. Again, these are all crew cards. They all have water, and they all have a special ability. Okay, so that's actually, believe it or not, that's really all there is in the core box. There's really not a ton of cards. It's really, I mean, honestly, it's really not, you know, some sort of super difficult, hard to understand rules. I haven't played it, but I've watched it played, and you know, read through not all the rule book yet, but most of it, or at least earlier versions. And it really, really, honestly, is not that difficult. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting it to be a little bit more difficult than it was because I don't know, it just seemed like it should, but it's really not. But it's not, you know, which honestly at first kind of scared me a little bit because I was like, oh, well, if it's not, you know, if it's not that difficult, that's fine. But does that mean that it's not going to be challenging? Right, because I don't want to have something that's, you know, not really that challenging that I'm not going to have a lot of fun playing because it's either going to be super hard or it's going to be too easy. But I felt like after watching some playthroughs and reading and, you know, a couple things like that, I felt like that the difficulty was there, that was good enough to challenge you, but not overly difficult to make it not fun. So that is the Brigade. That's the core box. Slide that out. Now this was an add-on, and what's supposed to happen is this is like a 3D construct, and you kind of set it up as a box, and then those tiles that were the Pyromancers University set on top of these, just kind of to give the table a little bit of depth. All of these were cut incorrectly. They do not match the tiles, so this is useless. Red Genie is aware of it. They're working on a fix. I have to wait for that fix. A couple people have gone online and created 3D prints to fix that. If I could download those and do it, but I'm just going to wait because it's not a big deal to me. But that is something that you may see if you look at the Kickstarter or forums, and again, Red Genie is aware of that, and they are working towards fixing that. As a matter of fact, we'll look at the expansion next, but I do want to give Red Genie a little bit of credit because they had shipped out the Brigade, and they had planned on, and it actually, I believe, maybe even moved it back once Tinderbox Tales, which was set in the same universe as the Brigade, but not part of the Brigade. They had set that up, and it was kind of like a series of short books almost. Each book was kind of like a different game. And they started the Kickstarter, and a couple days ago, they decided to cancel the project, and they're focusing on getting the Brigade and the way of the Wardens and getting all this stuff fixed and everything out the door, get everything right before they do the other. So I know that was a hard decision for them, but I understand why they made it, and I think in my book that says something about them as developers, that they're trying to do the right thing. So if Red Genie, you're watching this or you watch this, you know, I know you're going to get a lot of grief for a lot of things that happened to the Kickstarter, but you know, it's tough doing a Kickstarter, and it's not like they've done a whole lot of Kickstarters like this. This was very different than anything they've ever done. So anyway, back to the unboxing. The Way of the Warden. So this is an expansion. So this adds some additional play modes, so you can play like 2v1, 3v1, 4v1, and it adds solo as an example. It does require the base game, so this is not a standalone. And really what it does is it's adding content, which is more Wardens to play, more locations, more crew members, Fire Festival special events, so those are additional events, some more equipment for co-op and solo games, and then a campaign that's 4 chapters long that you can do in solo or co-op mode to stop the... It's some of this is pretty funny. I mean, it's meant to be just a fun game, not a super serious game. To stop the evil cult of the Cuckoo from summoning the dreaded Phoenix. Okay. Now, I do like the art in this. The art's really, really well. Before I open this, again, I have opened this and I put some stickers on it. There's a couple issues that are in this box that you're going to see that they are aware of, and we'll be addressing. So this is the rule book, very similar to the color, layout, size examples of the previous rule book. There's your different chapters. So what do we get? We get some more tokens, some additional tracking tokens, and some more. There's some eggs and some other counters. We have additional tiles. So for example, there's the town lockup, right? So there's 8 of those. We have some additional cards. So again, there's some different things that happen with this, like being able to go get equipment and such, how the Phoenix moves. So there's a couple new things in here. Actions that you can do depending on if you're doing, depending on what you're doing. Okay. Solo, co-op, 3v1, different actions that you can take. Ability cards, just some player aids basically. Then we've got items, which stop right here, I guess. Yeah. So you have things like the Harry's watering can, the flying Persian, the bungalow egg, the laces of Kulani, hydrant key to the city. It's pretty funny. Sarteri's hat, ladder elemental, sentient hose, scroll of light drizzle, scroll of dispel magically sealed lock. So you have these items that you can, I guess, buy. I have not really read into this because I haven't played the other game, the core box. Then you have some additional players, some Wardens, right? So we've got Cindy Bustion, Bernhardt Blaze, Galila, White Fang, Esther, Arith, and well, I think this is the solo Cindy Bustian, I think. So you've got these additional Wardens. You got a few more crew members. So basically, one from each of the factions, it looks like, and then an extra one that's kind of factionless, this cat. So that's that. Then we have some more boards, and these are not necessarily individual boards, although incidents, yeah. So all these boards are similar to the player boards, but it depends on whether you're doing 3v1, 4v1, who's the Pyromancer, you know. They've got a board, and then your regular, everybody else has boards to track water and upgrades and items and stuff like that. So that's what those are. Then we have these tokens. This is the Phoenix token, and again, this is a sticker that I have placed. The stickers weren't horrible, but they were not always cut exactly right. So you can kind of see, well, you can't really see me. You can see how the wing is off. They weren't very straight. And I messed with them as much as I could, but there came a point, because some of the wood was busted, and especially this. Apparently this was common from everything that we have seen. This Pyromancer token being broken like that. So that's not a big deal. I'm going to leave that out because I do need to fix that. I meant to do that. This was the sticker sheet. And then we've got some additional event cards, right, that came with this. So that's the game. That's the components, anyway. And so I wanted to show you guys that. And I will be setting this up hopefully soon. I definitely want to play it because it does look like a lot of fun. Once I get my head around it, get everything learned, I will be bringing it to you guys so that you guys can see it played. I believe there is a playthrough online, but it is an early Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, I can't remember which one, version. So it's not the actual board, and I don't know what they've changed rules-wise and such, so I would be afraid to hazard that. But it will give you a good idea of kind of the idea of what's going on behind the game, at least especially from when it was early on. So there you have it, the Brigade with the Way of the Wardens expansion. Go check it out. Go check out their Kickstarter page so you can see what was going on. Check them out on BGG. Check out the videos and such on the Kickstarter page. And so yeah, there you go. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. I'm the Boardgameroamer. Glad you guys have joined me at the table. Go play some games. I know I am. And we will see you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next video. Bye, guys.